Thank y'all. I had a dry throat and I was drinking some water. Get kind of thirsty down here, and to give you a dry throat down here in Texas, a lot of dust. Anyway, today we talking about education instead of prison. I want to say that if you are an ex-offender and you are serious, like I said, about changing your lifestyle, and if you want a quality life in your family, then you have to be able to identify and understand what real friendship really is. I've been there and done that. And there are so many perpetrators out there. They'll laugh, none but smiling faces. I remember walking around in San Quentin with nothing to do except lift weights or go to chow or go to the yard, kick it with the homeboys. Other than that, there was no structure, no incentive to change. And the real tragedy is that when policymakers deny prisoners educational opportunities, it's a recipe for failure when they are released. It's poor policy, people. Instead of just warehousing these men and women and wanting and waiting for them to reoffend, it's a worthwhile investment to implement programs. Every dollar that we spend on higher education in prison sees an $18 return. And when I was incarcerated, I got paid 10 cents a day to work in the kitchen. That's crazy. But you could also earn $30 or more if you chose a good labor job in prison. So why not give someone the same amount to attend school in prison? And why reward washing pots and pans instead of rewarding someone to better themselves with the college education in prison? And also think that if we would, we got some great ideas though here at Gaining Ground. It'd be a great idea to give special restrictive driver's license to those who are getting out of prison and that had their license revoked. I think that we all need that second chance, and I think that this is a great incentive to keep them out of trouble. Because without a driving license, it's hard to get a job. And sometimes the ex-offender, they're going to drive anyway. And what is it? It's a vicious cycle that prevents them from getting on with a productive life. But I also speak to the ex-felons out there that this is not a license to kill. It's not a license to sell drugs. That should be mandatory. And they should be attending mentoring programs. That should be mandatory. We need to do something about men and women returning back to prison, people. And education is the ticket to that second chance. It's their best chance of never seeing those prison walls again. And I do understand how they feel. They need a job to feed themselves and their families, a place to live. And let me be perfectly clear when I say that education is not just acquiring knowledge or skills. It's also about a total transformation. It's about learning to think and express themselves in a healthy way and acquiring those values and constructing a new life and staying out of prison. That's our goal here at Gaining Ground. So as I said, go to www.gainingground.us. You'll see that we are doing our part, but we're all just a link in the chain. You see, if we implement programs in prison, it's a great investment. Prison doesn't have to be a hellhole. It can be a university, a career training center. This can improve the lives of those re-entering back into the community. And I say to those around the world, you have been to prison, then let's get some act right. You also have a responsibility to get the tools you need to stay free. And how much time have you wasted because of poor decisions? And Dale Ray made them too. And after going through my own personal hell, I've got it right. I got it right. And I can tell you right now, I'm getting on with my life. I'm on a positive path. To those men and women coming out of prison, listen to me. To make it when you get released, to survive and thrive out here, it's the only way. And that's through education. And to find a job that will provide for you and your family. It's through education. It's time you start serving as a good role model, not only for your family, but for the community in general. And so the best way to escape prison, and I'm going to keep on saying it, is through education. Let me speak to some of those business owners in the community. Hey, you remember that guy who used to boost cars around your neighborhood? And guess what? Maybe if you gave him a chance, he could excel as a service manager for your car dealership. And I'm serious. To all the business owners out there, this subject deserves some consideration. And I'll admit there are others who don't want change, but there are those who have legitimately changed their ways, and they are just looking for an opportunity to prove it. Even I had a lot of ground to make up when I got out of prison, and I have worked diligently to prove myself. And I believe I've done pretty good to restore my name. It's about giving someone a second chance, people. That's it, and that's all. And to the business owners out there, if good faith isn't enough incentive to hire an ex-felon, then think about the tax breaks associated for your company to hire them. I've seen with my own eyes that when companies open up their employee selection process to rehabilitated lawbreakers, when they give these men and women a second chance to be a productive member of society, most of the time they get a top-notch employee who truly value their job. And to me, this honest appreciation means they'll stop at nothing to see that the company is successful. And let me remind society that there are a lot of good people that are coming out of prison. So let's not brand everybody. The ones that want to stay free and want to make a better life for themselves work that much harder. And that's because they don't want to go back. And we have the men and women who go back to their families when they are released. And it's a lot of pressure for them to start contributing financially to the household. But how can they when nobody wants to give them an opportunity? And to my listeners who have loved ones in prison and are coming out soon, you need to let them know that even before they get out, they should have a support group already in play. They must develop a positive network of real friends before they even get out. And you can help them do this because you're free already. And those being released, you got to stay away from even family members who are into crime. Find new friends. And of course, there are a lot of volunteers that come out of prison. And you know they help, man. There's a lot of volunteers that work in the prison. They come out too and they try to help people. And I'm a chaplain. And I stay in touch with the men and women. I've written to quite a few of them while they were incarcerated. And I got to tell you also that stop trying to be in a relationship as soon as you touch down, but have that personal relationship with Jesus Christ. That's first and foremost. And then you got to work on you. And just maybe you need to do a new geographic. I'm talking about moving. It's time to grow up and get a real life. Get out of that comfort zone and God will bless you. I'm sure about it. I want to share with those who are still on paper that personally I gave my parole officer a hard time and finally learned how to buckle down so I could get off parole. It's up to you, because the parole officer are only doing their job. And you can make it a lot easier by staying out of trouble. And all you have to do is adhere to the rules. It's as easy as you want it to be. It's time to man up, especially if you are out there doing wrong, because most parole officers want you to be successful. I know mine did. And today I've been off parole for many years. All you have to do is have a teachable spirit if you want to win. And I spent a lot of time just thinking through every step of leaving prison back in the days. Not just about eating mom's good chicken, but seriously thinking minute by minute through what I would do on the first day I leave prison. And believe me, on my last rodeo, it worked. I thought about what triggered me, what would trigger me again to use. I actually thought about what areas of San Francisco I needed to avoid. You see, the big book talks about people, places, and things. And it's easy to slide back into the things that got you there in the first place. And it's like the professional athletes and how they visualize every second of every particular goal or game. First they break down their movements, their breathing, and they go through it time after time. And my friend, it's the same thing when you get out of prison. Going to see the parole officer, finding a case manager to help you get a place to live. Also avoiding people who could pull you down if you're not careful. You must visualize those things if you want to stay free. And to my brothers and sisters who are in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's a large city and it's one of the most challenging cities in the world. I know because I lived there for many years. And it seems that everybody there want what you want. And people are rude to you when you go to apply for a job. They lose your paperwork, or when you apply for benefits, your paperwork gets lost. And you got to start all over again. It's frustrating, to say the least. And to those who are in recovery, my suggestion to you is that as soon as you get out, go to a recovery meeting. It's about staying plugged in. It's about a good support system. And if possible, go to 90 meetings in 90 days. It's what I did. Because not only did I not want to go back to prison, but I wanted to live. And remember that every meeting has its character. And if you're not feeling one of them, then go to another one. And I know that when I was in prison, I only had a few choices to make every day. Because when you're locked up, my choices are made for me when I was